Hi guys, welcome to inside HYROX London Excel 2025. In a moment, I'm going to take you inside and I'm going to take you for a walk around an event as it occurs in real time. Historically, I've called these my walk the floor videos, and that's exactly what they are. It's designed to show relatively new people, first timers, second timers, what a HYROX is all about. Keep you updated with the rules and the movement standards. I'm going to take you around each of the exercise stations looking for examples of what I'm talking about while cheering everybody on that's currently on the floor. It's currently the men's open, so there's going to be loads of blokes out there just in the pain cave. It's important to show my support as I go around with these things. Now, some of you may think, well, Martin, you've made these videos before. We've seen them on YouTube already. Why are you making them again? And you would be right. I made a London Excel video here just last year, but it's really important to keep these videos updated. Why? Because the venue changes, the layout changes, the halls change, the rules and movement standards are always changing and being updated, and everybody here is a different selection of people as the last time I did this. So it's super important to keep these nice and up to date so you guys have the very latest information when heading into your HYROX event. So the London Excel venue, it's in the sort of start of December, end of November, and it's one of two London venues that are on the UK HYROX schedule. The other is London Olympia, which occurs at the end of March on the other side of town. Another fantastic event. I would highly recommend that one to you. It's in the middle of London. It's next to the London airport. It's surrounded by hotels and public transport links, and it's super easy to get to. If you are a stickler for driving, it has a massive subterranean car park which can house thousands of cars, but it does cost quite a lot of money, around £20–25, so just bear that in mind when organising yourself to this event. Okay, so this is the London Excel entrance. As you can see, HYROX is all over it. So London Excel, the unique selling point about this particular event is a one-lap indoor course, first in the world, and it is occupying halls S3 to S23, which is huge amount. Nearly all of the south halls are dedicated to HYROX, just so we can run around it in one lap. Okay, so spectator check-in is at S2 at the London Excel, which is just here. I don't need to go today because I already have mine, but that's outside of the arena, whereas the athletes check-in is inside the arena. So at new HYROXs these days, they have introduced the bridge, which is a fantastic way of getting the bulk of the traffic over to the other side of the running track. Okay, the first thing all athletes really want to be doing when they get to an event is to register. So when you enter, show them your QR code, get in the queue. Sometimes at peak times, the queue can be quite busy. Allow that when you're planning your travel ahead of your wave time. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a delay, so don't leave it too late. You will need your QR code on your phone, screenshot it just in case you've not got signal, and your ID. That's super important, photographic ID. It can be a photo of it on your phone. They will then give you two wristbands, one to say you're sort of a spectator for today and a athlete. They will give you a timing chip as well, and that's something that you will have to put onto your ankle. Make sure it's the right way round and velcroed up correctly, because a lot of people can mess that up. So just before you go into the start tunnel, there is the warm-up zone. Inside is all of the relevant bits of kit from a HYROX. So you'll have skis, rowers, kettlebells, wall balls, all of that good stuff. You'll also have some assault treadmills just to get you warmed up. The warm-up area for HYROX London Excel is massive. As a result of having all of the halls, they've got an abundance of space, probably for the first time since HYROX has been going. That means loads of space for all the bigger kit, as well as an abundance of space for people who just want to do a bit of running, a bit of mobility work in open space. At the start of every race, there is the start line, which comes in the form of this big blue Red Bull start tunnel. Inside, lots of lights, flashing lights, bit of music, a big screen with a countdown clock at that end, right before your race. It's just to build the mood and increase that hype. Okay, exercise station 1, the ski erg. The very first station. How should you handle this, and are there any movement standards? Let's do movement standards first. Go to the allocated ski erg. right? You're being directed by one marshal at the gate and another marshal closer to the actual ski erg. With regards to movement standards, you must stand on the platform and start pulling the handles. It's quite simple really. There is a damper, you can adjust that at any time, and if you happen to be doing this with a doubles partner, there is a doubles mat just behind the ski erg. This means that they have to stand on that while you're doing your exercising. Okay, let's go check out some of these boys doing the ski ergs. Right, so with regards to form on this one, if you've watched any sort of ski erg videos online, you will know that the preferred and most economical use of your body is to hinge at the hips and not do too long of a stroke. You will see that he does shorter strokes, hinging at the halfway point, using your body weight to drop those handles. I'm kind of a half and half. I kind of start fast, have a high cadence, but then as I start to tire, I'll go longer strokes to try to keep that flywheel moving. Let's talk a little bit about your overall skiing time, and this is true for the row as well. When you enter the station, your time starts as you pass that arch there, the ski number 1. And it won't stop, your time won't stop until you pass this quite subtle black line down here. And that's the entrance and exit to the station. So let's say you do 4 minutes on the ski, but then you walk in and out, that takes 30 seconds, it's 4 minutes, 30 seconds. So exercise station number 2, it's the sled push. It's a bit of a trial by fire. It's only station number 2, but it is devastating on the legs. So we have 50 meters, 4 lengths of this, 2 out and backs essentially. The weights are 102, 152 and a 202 for the ladies, the men's open and ladies pro, and the men's pro respectively. With regards to movement standards, there aren't that many. Stay in your lane, do your allocated amount, do not do less, and your sled must always be fully and completely over the white line at each end. Simple really. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about technique and form. It's to hold the handles underneath like this fella here, lift it ever so slightly but not much because it's not very forgiving on this carpet, and to simply push from that point, putting your weight over the sled and little tiny footsteps. Sort of a side note to that, when you brake is sometimes important too. A lot of people will brake at the halfway point, allow the blood to start flowing in their legs again and that lactic acid to come down before going again. I quite like to do 1 full length and then break up the other 3 bit by bit. Now this is brutal. If you go too fast, you try too hard, do too much, the next run is disgusting. It is grim. So exercise station number 3, it's the sled pull. Yeah, this is kind of a brutal one to come straight after the sled push. It's a bit of a double whammy. Now, when you first enter, you want to do what that marshal says. He's going to be pointing to that marshal's going to be pointing to a lane. Go to it. You might, should you choose to, take some chalk out of this bucket, like this fella is. This will help with your grip on the rope. If it starts to get oily or greasy, it can get slippy, and that's made harder. It's worth an extra second just to put a little bit on your hands. When you get to your lane, let's talk about movement standards. You must pull that sled for 50 meters. That's again 4 theirs and backs. And once you start pulling, you cannot step outside of that box. Don't allow your toes to cross that line, not even a millimeter. Just be very conscious of this, because the marshals are very conscious of this and they're watching. Stay in your lane as best you can. Don't allow your rope to go either left or right. It can come out the back of your box, that's completely okay. When your sled is completely over the line, then you can launch back down to that side. It is my advice that when you transition from end to end, that you do so running. Get a bit of a haste on, get a bit of speed going on, because that is all dead time. That's a lot of transitions. You don't want to be walking really. When you are finished, ensure your sled is over the last line after 4 lengths. Sometimes I like to eyeball the ref at this point, but it's not essential, and then head out of the exit. So let's talk a little bit about technique and form. Probably by far the most common technique is to walk it back. Pick up the rope, take the slack, lean back into it, allow your body weight to do the majority of the work. Little steps. Of course, ensuring not to cross the line at the back. Just a little look down every now and again won't hurt. When you have done that, either work your way back up the rope, drop the rope and do that rep again. Now, if you're a little bit stronger, if you're a little bit top heavy, if you've got massive guns and biceps, a little bit of arm over arm, as well as the walk back can help make it go a little bit faster. Of course, if you're doing doubles, have your partner stand outside of the box and you must drop the rope before you swap. So exercise station number 4, it's the burpees. Now, I've never shied away from telling you lot how much I hate the burpees. Fucking hate them. They are disgusting, absolutely grim. But I feel in my last few races I've tamed them a little bit, but I'll talk about that in a moment when we get to form and technique. Let's first talk about movement standards, what you absolutely have to do when entering the burpees. See this purple line? Your hand goes on that line and must not go past the white line. Don't do that. You must start in a chest down burpee first. Don't do a jump first. These white lines, these squares, they're not lanes. They are simply markers so you can see what 1 meter looks like, and it also assists the judges in judging distances. Why is that important? Because the distance your hands from your feet when you go down into the burpee, that needs to be no more than 30 centimeters. Back of the hand to the toe, 30 centimeters. When you bring your feet up, they must not go past your fingertips. So if you're one of these people that steps, and before you jump, both of your feet must be parallel and then land parallel. No step jumping like we saw in the early days of HYROX. Now this is a brutal thing. Like I said, it causes a lot of people to blow up, and that's because they're probably not trained to this degree in training. What do I mean by that? Well, you don't necessarily race at race pace at your gym, and by the time you practice burpees in your training environment, you're not this bollocks. So how have I tamed these? How have I improved these for me? As well as doing absolutely loads of burpees, I had an epiphany about 3 races ago that if I just let my ego go and did the old man burpee, allow my knee to come up before my feet, it looks a little bit slow. But overall, it's faster. Why? Because you're not stopping. Your heart rate isn't maxing out. And when you leave the burpees, you have energy in the tank for the next run. Right, let's have a look at a few of these guys doing it and lend some support. It is at this point in the video that I like to talk about running. I normally slot it in just after the burpees as to break up the exercises. Why is it so important? Now, on paper, HYROX is 50% running, 50% exercises. So at the very least, you should be training running as much as the exercise stations, right? 50-50 split. But it's not as simple as that because of the rock zone. And there's even some running inside of the exercise stations, like ski, like row. When you add it all up, it's about 9 kilometers, maybe more, of running on a HYROX event. Now, that means you need to train that more than the other stuff, more than any one skill. Let's compare 60% of the race, let's say 35-40 minutes of exercise doing this, compared to say 2 minutes of farmer's carry or 2 minutes of sled push. What's more important? Where are you going to save the most time? I'm not saying don't do those things. Sure, you don't need to do them as much as you think. This you need to do a load of. So how do you get better at running? Well, there's no simple answer and there's no one answer either. There's no ultimate right way. I prefer to mix up my runs 3 or 4 times a week to reflect the percentage of what running is to a HYROX event. And I will mix in different sessions, and variety is what makes you better. So hill work, speed work, slow runs, long runs, compromised legs. I sort of rotate through these as best I can, when I can, and that just helps when it comes to doing stuff like this. So at all HYROXs there is a digital display somewhere on the running track, often at one of the corners, and just before it there are a couple of mats. As you pass those mats, your name will appear on that board. It will tell you which running lap you're on, should there be multiple laps, or which workout station you're on next. So if you're going into the sled pull, it will say workout 3 and you're aiming for the 3rd arch. Now, a word of caution, sometimes that screen can fail, sometimes it can crash or freeze or go off entirely. It's important that you count your laps every single race. Well, not necessarily this race, because there's only one lap, but any race where there's multiple laps. Don't rely on that. Don't let it tell you stuff. You want to know it ahead of time. So one of the great things you can have with an abundance of space like they have here at London Excel, as well as extra wide lanes for things like burpees, is extra things like this, grandstands, so you get an elevated point of view on stations that you ordinarily wouldn't, and it's great addition. So if you are on a HYROX, often between the sleds or just after the sled pull, you'll see something like this. Make sure you throw a pose or at least freaking smile, because that'll be in your photos after the fact. Station number 5, it's the row. So 1,000 meters as fast as you can. Right, let's talk a little bit about the row. Now, some people treat the row as something of a rest station. Don't treat it as a rest station. It's one of these balancing acts. You can go too fast, blow up in the next run, go too slow, burn a load of time. So yeah, it is a balancing act. Now, the way I describe this is to row something that is well practiced, that you know you can sustain for the distance without it hurting you, without you getting too blown up. Then you know that when you put the rowing handles down and you go out into your next run, that it's not going to be so difficult that the next kilometre feels like hell. Exercise station number 6, it's the farmer's carry. Yes, my favourite. Well, maybe second favourite, maybe joint first, I don't know, but I like this one. Why? Because it is so simple, moving a weight from point A to point B. Now, things to think about. There are 3 sets of weights, 16 kilograms for the women, 24 kilos for the men's and ladies pro, and 32 kilos for the men's pro. Now, they all are in a box outside of that arch. You can see them, the men picking them up and putting them down just there. Pick up the right weights. Firstly, it's very important that you pick up the right weights, because if you did it all with the wrong weights, you've still got to then go around again with the correct weights. There is a chalk bucket out there. Make sure you get lots on your hands, worth the extra second to get chalk on. With regards to putting the weights back, it must go back into the respective box neatly, no dropping them. Now, with regards to form, getting around here as fast as possible is key, because you are against the clock. That is your grip. Your grip is pretty much going to fail at some point. It's just whether or not it happens in here. Now, if it does happen in here, that's cool. Just put them down, take a second, pick them up, carry on. As time has gone on, people have started holding the weight in the corners and spinning around at the end. I think that's more for Instagram than anything. Everyone likes to give someone a tip, right? Everyone likes to be the person that tells someone something new. Station number 7, it's the lunges. Now, let's talk a little bit about the lunges. There's a few movement standards to be had here. 1, you must start the lunge at the start line by lunging over it, 1 foot behind, 1 foot in front, not touching on the line. 2, your knee must touch the ground with every rep. 3, you must stand up fully at the top of each, fully extending one's hips. 4, you must not at any point put the sandbag on the ground. Big no-no. As with the kettlebells, there are 3 sets of weights, the 10s, the 20s and the 30s on the sandbags. The ladies, the men's opens, the ladies pro and the men's pro respectively. Again, choose the right one. You do it with the wrong bag, you've got to do it with the right bag. It's important. A little bit of a tip, if you take the ones at the very front, they are soaked, absolutely soaked through with hundreds of people's sweat. Think about that for a second. Okay, station number 8, it's the wall balls, the finale. You've got 100 wall balls to do between your HYROX and your finisher's patch. So let's talk about it. Weights first. Ladies have a 4 kilo, the men's opens and ladies pro have a 6 kilo and the men's pro have a 9 kilo. You should get your own referee or one between 2, and they control everything via a tablet. They are looking for you to break depth.
That's why they get down low. They are looking for below parallel, not even, not a 90 degree. They're looking for you to break parallel with the ground. So make sure you go ass to grass, else you're getting some no reps. So they can control it from this tablet. The strikes on the target are all controlled electronically, and your count is on the screen below. But try not to look at it because you will likely miss the target more. It's just a bit of advice from something I've done myself. So get low, strike hard. Some people suggest clustering them if you can't do them all in one go, but that generally falls apart for me every single race. In the end, I ended up doing them in 3s, 2s and 1s just to get it done. But however you do it, know this, that the finish line and your patch is right there. So, the end of our tour is the finish platform. The finish line is there on the map. Make sure you sprint for it. And as you do, remember that there is a photographer looking directly at you. Make sure you do a pose, a jump, show your guns, anything. Just make it count because that is going to be the money shot. As you finish, your time should come up on the board. If it doesn't, hold on to your timing chip and tell one of the officials. It is a fantastic place to be. And see all those people that look dead? They're not dead. They are happy as heck to have finished HYROX London Excel. After you finish your HYROX, you come down from the stage, you're given a patch, get some hydration, get a banana, get anything you want. And then over there, there is a finishing photo. A platform, like a sensor that detects your ankle chip, tells the TV behind you what time you got, and you can have a photo with it in the background.
So that was inside HYROX London Excel 2025. Now I've just been around that event. I've been in there for about 2 hours. It is insane in there. The sheer size and scale of it, you can't see one end from the other. In fact, I stood at the Burpees and could not see the ski ergs, which, I mean, they were over the horizon. Is insane how big that HYROX actually is. 40,000 people, 1 kilometer running lap indoors, first in the world. So what did I think of it? What was the impact on the actual experience for the athlete and the spectator? Well, I haven't competed yet, but I will tomorrow. But for now, from a spectating point of view, loads of space. But what's happening with bigger waves comes more spectators, like lots and lots of spectators all at once, and it becomes a frenzy. People are trying to get from the start to the ski ergs, and it's like a tsunami from one exercise station to the next, and it is really like a bit of a frenzy in there. Certainly when the doubles come on, there were just so many people. I had to get out of there in the end, but ultimately a fantastic improvement. So many people will get a chance to come and do this HYROX because the fact that it's as big as it is, and meaning just one lap. I mean, that's great. Loads of people will be happy about that. So many fewer penalties will be received as a result of it. Yeah, a really good event. I think that's going to be one for the record books, and if that ends up being sort of a template for future events, then so be it. I mean, no one's going to cry too much. The only way they can improve it is just bring the wave sizes down a fraction, perhaps. But yes, ultimately a great event. I go out and race tomorrow. If you'd like to see that video, please give my channel a subscribe now. We're going out as Deadpool and Wolverine. Again, you might have seen it from last year. We are going for the sequel. So please do hang about for that. There are other videos for all the other UK HYROX venues. I've done videos in this very same manner around all of those. So go check those out. Right, give the channel a like and subscribe. See you in my next video soon. Mart out.